I knew I had music in me, but I didn't know I was in love with it.
What's missing from DJing? I ain't even gonna put DJs' names on blast.
To him, making noise in the basement could translate into making money.
Yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav, and I just want y'all to make the music. Don't let the music make you. You make the music.
Make the music.
Make the music.
You know, I've been doing this for about 10 years, and before I got into the game, people always told me it was a 10-year pretty much journey, and I didn't think it was true, but you gotta learn. It's a step-by-step process, you know what I mean? And I grew as time went along, and it definitely was worth it, you know what I mean? I put in that work, and time paid off.
Bringing it out, you know what I'm saying? It's all about just bringing it out and basically keeping that on the one, that funk on the one. And I just, you know, it's a different rendition. I got a lot of influences in my music: rock, jazz, progressive rock, a lot of things that I do, you know what I mean, with my music. You know, I would say it's definitely diverse on a beat making level.
My music comes from my heart, you know what I mean? It's like I give it all every time I produce. And if I'm not giving you my realest emotion, I feel like you can't give that track the realest emotion.
What's missing from DJing? I ain't even gonna put DJs' names on blast, man. But nowadays, there's no turntablism, man. Like, anybody gets called a DJ. Just because you DJ stop and play, that don't make you a DJ, dog. Like, if you can't stop breaks, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta know how to blend, scratch, kick, snares.
Yeah, it has to be beneficial, because without knowing where you came from, you ain't gonna know where you're going. And that's the truth of it. I don't care if they just popped up yesterday talking about I'm a rapper or I'm a beat maker. Like, dudes nowadays, they don't know about making beats. They got programs, and they jumping on the programs, and they sprinkling out a couple of sounds, and they saying, I'm a producer. You're not a producer, dog. All you did was piece together what the program just had sitting there for you.
This is a competitive game. You hear what's on the radio, you hear different artists, and everybody, regardless what they say, even if they're not in their head, to their back of their mind, like, man, I could do this better than that person, you know? If you're a real artist, if you're true to your craft, like, now that's what goes on in my head.
After the Infamous album, you know what I mean, a lot of cats was like, yo, your beats is dope. And, you know, I started making beats for people, you know, it was new to me, because, you know, I was only used to making beats from beat at the time, but it was cool, you know, the checks was great.
My first official mainstream break was a tribute to Biggie Smalls, We Always Love It Papa, which was a tribute song when Biggie passed away. So that was like the first single, video, radio play, and all that fantastic stuff. That's what that was.
It's just that hungry feeling, you know what I mean? That feeling to make people appreciate what I do, you know what I mean? To get people rocking, you know what I'm saying? And like, when I keep that in mind, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I just want to make people happy, you know what I'm saying, with my beats, you know, put them in a certain mood, you know what I mean, and that just keeps me going.
It's funny,
I don't really put a lot on, like how you say, like, wow. No, to me, everything is accomplishment, and you got to work and keep going with everything. So it's like, I don't stop to sit somewhere and be like, I produce, we always love Big Papa, Papa. I don't got time to celebrate because I'm coming back to back. So like like that was a big break. Then I did half of the Lox album. So it's like we're still rolling. Then right off the Lox album was DMX album. So it was like, it wasn't no time to say, yo, I made it in.
I use basically anything and everything, you know what I mean? I you know, it doesn't matter, but you know, my main tool is definitely always the MPC 4000.
Oh, sorry. First time I met up with Fat Joe to playing beats, I was like, yo, how much can you get for a beat? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I didn't really know. I was clueless. Me and my partner really wasn't in the production thing too hard. He was like, you get like 5,000 a track. You know, 5,000 a track back then when, you know, because he wasn't making that. I was DJing. I used to get at most a party like 250, 300. You know what I'm saying? Like sneaker money, like money that you just could go shopping with. But like when he said 5,000 a track, I'm like, and I knew what it takes to make a track. Like it's not as hard as people make it seem once you know the craft. You know what I'm saying? But like my father, he would do things like I'd be sleeping and he would leave job applications on my side table. Like I wake up and see job applications and he'd be like, in his own way, he didn't understand how music could make me money. Once he saw that, he kind of figured, wait a minute. And then, you know, a couple times after that, he starts to see checks on the, like checks come in the mail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like whether it's from record labels mailing checks out. And you know, like my parents were still in the habit of they see my mail, but they open it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was one day my father saw a check come in the mail and the check might have been for something. I'm just making a number up, but it's around. It was something like around 45,000 or whatever it was. And he seen it. And I knew he seen it because the mail was open. He was the only one in the crib. But he never said nothing to me about it since that day. But he just knew. Since that day, he knew and never questioned, like never said, go get a job. Never. He just understood.
I did all the bands, I did different instruments. It's actually when I got into junior high schools when I really started understanding my talent because the person that did Stick Evans, he was James Brown drummer, did all Funky Drum and all those records for James Brown, was my music teacher. So he the one that opened my mind to different instruments like drums, keyboards, guitar, bass, and you know, all the percussion, different stuff. And that's how I knew, like, yo, I had some talent there. So let me see what I can do with it. And at that point, I just kept pursuing it until I got through high school and went 1 year of college and just said, you know what, we do music for a minute, let me see what it is, you know, and just took it from there and it just worked out in my favor. Like at age 10, that's when I started really like loving music. Like really like, yo, I wanna learn how to do this, I wanna do that. So I started listening to a whole bunch of 45s, started listening to a whole bunch of vinyls and stuff like that, and start studying all the TV commercials, you know, and everything that was on TV, and started learning how to play all those stuff on a Casio keyboard. So that's when I know. And started with Positive K, and the list started going on, Shaka Suppliers, and then started happening with MOP, and I mean, my resume started getting crazy.
Yo, we go back to 91, we'll look crazy doing, you know what I mean? Like, they'd be like, yo, what is that? Or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, it completely changed. Like, back then, it was all about lyrics. I was reading the interviews.
Let me ask you a question. Back then, they made songs like Thick and Boogers and My Adidas. Then nowadays, you got songs like, you know, Marco Polo, you got Superman. So what's the difference between those songs back then and the songs of now?
You know what's so funny?
Was it getting commercial play back then?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Picking Boogers. Hey ma, what's for dinner? Go up, you know. You know what, man? You know somebody just came back with some style like the Looking Boy dudes and Hostile. That remind me of the Biz Markie era. You know, Biz Markie was a comedian. What's the difference? I don't think there's no difference.
What about Fat Boys, like All You Can Eat? Like that wasn't no real lyrical song, but it was still rocking the crowd. So like,
I guess because it was different and it stood out.
Because it was a different era, or was it just because?
That's probably what it is. Because you know what? Back then and as the era came to now.
Sometimes people say, well, they're not keeping it old school, they're not keeping it real, but that is old school real. If you think about it, just different topics.
Right.
Pretty much the same. So what would you say to the people that criticize?
Don't criticize. Now that you mentioned that to me, I just seen a whole nother light. The game is just 360 and coming back to where it was. That's it. That's it. That's it.
When I moved to Staten Island, I moved out to Staten Island and I caught up with some other DJs because that's what I used to do at first. And by the time I caught up to them, they were already producing beats, and that was with the 4 tracks, the 8-track machines, you know what I mean? Dub tapes and stop and goes and making joints though, and then having dudes rhyme on it. I'm like, wow, how'd you do? Like, whoa, that's how you? Wow, I need to do that too. And then as time went on, it evolved. Equipment started coming into play. Everybody started buying pieces of equipment. So coming from a DJ into being a producer, that was the metamorphosis. You know what I mean? That's what it was all about at that point in time.
Make the music.
Make the music.
You're now watching Make the Music.
Producers stay in the studio all night long for days on end. They don't shower, don't go to the club. They're just like, you know, studio rats. Put that time in.
Yo, I just bagged the Jackson 5 CD that nobody got.
The year I started making music was, I would say, basically in the 80s.
What up, those of you know what Craig G? This is hip hop.
Primo. DJ from it. The way he chopped up the samples, and especially like the cuts. It's just sharp as hell.
I need hands in the air right now. If y'all tired of some of this shit y'all been hearing, as soon as you ain't a fan of this whole bullshit that be going on, niggas, you coming gutter. This is a nigga police brutality. Yes, I ain't trying to bring New York back. I'm just a breath of fresh air, that good old New York. Let's talk to the track. Come on, who brought that to the day? The video on the train, get up to the I don't feel how I used to feel. In my 20s, showing new Nas joint, you should give me the chill. In the barbershop track, have a new hot tape. God knows it's crazy, this dude on great is hip hop. And yes, I'm a fan first. If you from the south, sing a step to your hands hurt. If you from the west, y'all be using it. If you from the east coast, act like you from here. The good old 2-step, classic head nod, thirsty ice grill. Who wants to get raw?